Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the BTS Bootroom. What a dramatic opening night of the League of Ireland season. We saw that late winner for Drogheda United in the early game, but we're here to talk about the live televised game tonight. That was, of course, that Dublin derby between Shamrock Rovers and St.Pat's. And to be honest, it wasn't great for 80 minutes or so, but we got a late burst of goals. It ended 1-1, and I'm delighted to have a couple of guests joining me now. First of all, I'm going to bring in Ethan Fitzpatrick. And remember him from his podcast appearances last season. Fitzy, great to have the League of Ireland back.
Oh, great to be back. Thoroughly enjoyed watching it there. Just a bit of a buzz, a bit of a buzz online, and can't wait for our game tomorrow.
Yeah, even though, as I said, it wasn't great for 80 minutes, it was still, I still enjoyed it. You said yourself, you still, even the earlier game, Drogheda and Waterford, I thoroughly enjoyed watching it.
I suppose the ref was kind of just trying to stop a game there for about 80 minutes. It was just stop, start. And then, Jesus, when I couldn't believe when Pats took the lead, then I was just like, Jesus, is this going to be an upset on the opening day? But, of course, they had to go and, as John and Gary said, they had to go and let you down another time and just switch off for about 30 seconds straight away,
Yeah, but, look, the signs were certainly positive for Pats. We're going to be joined by Cian Menton in a moment. He's going to tell us about Pats' performance. And we've got Justin Mason live from the Tallaght Stadium as well. He's been working for Absolute Game tonight, so we'll hear from the two lads in a second. But I actually thought of you quite a bit during that first half, Fitzy, because there was some real crunching tackles.
Oh, I was loving it. I was like, we're back. Get a few crunchers. There was I thought the refs, even, I was watching with the outfielder there, and some of the tackles there were great tackles. And I think even the commentary and the lads at halftime were highlighting it as well. Like, Jesus, I was at one stage, I was like, are you not allowed to tackle anymore? Is it just, there was a few good tackles there, but look, it was a good game. It was an all right performance from Pats. I don't want to be too harsh on them. I thought a lot of the game, they were happy enough holding on to the ball and passing it around the back. But they didn't really have much movement. For the midfield that they have, there wasn't really much movement in the final third. And then, of course, up popped Benson. Then his legs looked like he was absolutely jelly when he had the ball there, crossed it in. Lucky to get the deflection or whatever, good goal. But you're thinking, a couple of minutes to go, whatever it was, just see it out, boot the ball into the Maldron, get rid of it. But unfortunate that Rovers got the breakdown his side, and he just hadn't the legs to carry him out. He got the first block all right, but the legs were just gone, and the cross in, and I think it was Sam Bowen who was only after coming on, and he just obviously wasn't up to speed with the game, and it was a fine header, but
brilliant.
Probably 1-1 was probably a fair result, I suppose. But it was great to watch it all the same.
Yeah. As I said, I think there was quite a good few positives about Pat's performance. So we'll hear from Cian Menton shortly, our Pats fan who's going to be joining us. But we're going to go live to the Tallaght Stadium now. Justin Mason's been there for the Absolute Game tonight, and I'm delighted to say he joined us on the BTS Bootroom. Justin, Rovers, that's the stuff of champions, isn't it? Didn't play that well, but they've got a result in the end.
I think spot on, Kieran. I thought when Pat's got the goal, I thought this is it. 3 minutes to go, you're thinking game over. But I think, in fairness, they did show where they're champions. It's a great ball by Shahar, and it's a fantastic header by Greener. It's right in the corner, and it needed something special like that, because that young keeper for Pats, I thought, was excellent tonight. He commanded his penalty brilliantly. He made 3 brilliant saves the second half, and so it was. I think a draw was a fair result in the end. Only neither side deserved to win it, but neither side deserved to lose it. So I think a draw was a fair result in the end. Just a bit of a stat, lads, on tonight. There hadn't been a goal in this fixture until tonight, nearly 400 minutes, and then we get 2 in the space of a minute, like buses, So
yeah, because to be honest, it wasn't a fantastic spectacle for 80 minutes or so. But when the board went up then after the 2 goals for 4 minutes, I was like, I'd love another 15 or 20 minutes of this. So it was a fantastic end to the game. But look, we can't be greedy. Justin, hang on for a second there. We'll get more from yourself very shortly. Let's bring Cian Menton in for the first time this evening. Cian, I know you've suffered. Pats have let that lead slip late, but I'd say you're quite happy with that performance overall. A good start to the season to go to the champions and pick up a point.
Yeah, definitely. Look, I delighted with a point. Being honest, I probably wouldn't have taken a point at the start of the game. Funnily enough, I just felt like Pats were in
greedy.
I honestly, I just thought, Pats were in a good place, and I think it did show, especially they dug deep when they had to and defended well. I thought Gerrard's done really well in goal. I thought with the back four was kind of okay. Look, obviously we know what happened, and then getting the goal and own goal, bit of luck. It's probably look, Pats often do this to you. You know, they give you that bit, and then they just take it back. So you know, it's disappointing to see us lose a lead after scoring so late on, but a point away to the champions in the opening day. You know, you can't really complain, I suppose.
We'll come back to you in a minute, Cian, for more on St. Pat's performance. But Justin, obviously you're in the stadium, and I don't want you getting chucked out. So we'll get the best out of you while we can. Let's go through the Rovers team and give us your thoughts on each player's performance. We'll start with the goalkeeper, Alan Manis. Not an awful lot of work to do tonight, but a couple of I suppose what you'd call basic saves for him, really.
I thought the save he made from Maddie Smith was very good. It was a brilliant save because it's a great effort by Smith. But I thought, Big Al, I still think he's the best keeper in the country. And tonight, again, with that save, he proved to be able. Everything he had to do, he did well. He had no real chance with the goal because the ball comes in from Benson. It hits off Pico and it's past him before he could do anything.
Yeah.
So, but a solid enough game from Big Al, yeah.
Yeah, that save you mentioned off Smith, watching it live, it did look like a very good save. But when you see the replay back, it's actually straight down the middle. There was a lot of pace on the shot, but obviously you're in the stadium, so you have a different view to it. But I think for Manis overall, a fairly easy night for him, apart from obviously having to pick the ball out of his own net. Sean Gannon, what did you make of his performance? Picked up an early yellow card. I
think that might have affected his performance here on. I think he wasn't as good. He seemed to be wanting to take an extra touch before he got the ball he delivered the ball into the penalty area. But like it's even though he was here before, it's new again for Sean to be coming back here. So I think he'll be fine. He just probably wasn't that great tonight by his standards. But so and I think there was a couple of occasions where he got into good positions and he took that extra touch, which allowed Pat to get back and defend and get that shape back. But he did okay, but by his standards, he wasn't brilliant, you know.
Moving on, Sean Hoare. What did we make of his performance tonight against his former club?
I thought Sean was excellent. I really did. I thought his distribution was good. His reading of the game was good. I think he might have made one mistake all night, but I think I was actually very impressed with Sean Hoare. He was probably one of our best players on the evening.
Pico Lopez had a very shaky start to the game, and the ball's gone in off him. Obviously, nothing he could do really about it, but probably not one of his better nights in a Shamrock Rovers shirt.
No, and I think Pico would admit that himself, but he still makes some very vital blocks. He still gets himself in there and he throws himself in. Just at one of those games, I think. And it could have been a lot worse if it had stayed 1-0. The deflection off. I don't think you could do anything about it. It just hit off him and it just flew into net. And that can happen. Like we've all seen that down through the years at any club, any match. You know, a cross comes in, you try your best to block it and it just hits off you and flies past the keeper. So I don't think he'd be too despondent, but it wasn't one of his better games, as you said, Kieran. Yeah.
Ronan Finn obviously played a lot of right wing back last season, but with Gannon now in the team, Finn's been able to go back into midfield. What did we make of Finn tonight?
Yeah, he was okay. I actually think Ronan had developed really well as a right wing back. He actually developed excellently, and it was a rarity last year or the year before because obviously as you get older, you're inclined to go more into the middle of the pitch. Ronan found him in a new position for himself out wide as right wing back. He was decent enough. Got on the ball quite a bit. At times Ronan doesn't lift his head up. I think tonight that was a case in point. But I think he did decent enough game. You know.
Graham Burke, one that grew into the game as it went on. A couple of shots on goal towards the end.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I think we found the ball from the penalty last week in the President's Cup somewhere. I think Bucky's a very good player. So he gets on the ball, always trying to look for that shot, always trying to get a shot away, always trying to involve others in the game. But didn't get much chance to do that tonight. One shot was brilliantly saved by the young Pat's keeper. It took a bit of a deflection, was going in. The young keeper did well to save it. So he wasn't too bad, Borky, but yeah, he's had better nights.
And Danny Mandreu, I don't know if you listen to our weekly podcasts, Justin, but he was someone we were discussing on the show during the week. He wasn't great in the President's Cup, and we were just saying it might take him a little bit of a while to bed into this Rovers team because he's coming from a Bows team where he was one of the real star players. I know he didn't play an awful lot towards the end of last year, and he's going into a Rovers team where there's stars all through the dressing room, very experienced players, and it might just take him a little while to adjust to how Rovers play and just to maybe find his place in the team. But again, as the game grew on, he seemed to be getting into the game more and more.
Yeah, I think so. I think he again he had another shot that tested the keeper, and he made a very good save. Yeah, look, I think it's going to take time for this Rovers team to gel a bit, because we're going to play a slightly different way, because Jack is gone, because Aaron is gone, and the new players that are coming in, the likes of Danny Mandrew, the likes of Chris McCann, they're going to take time to get in, and I think there was signs tonight that they'll get there. But yeah, I think he wouldn't be as involved as much. I mean, I think in his Zapolska and lads, you remember sort of everything a couple of years ago went through him, and he was their playmaker or such, and he could pick out goals from nothing. Like the goal he got against Rovers 2 years ago. But I thought he did all right. I thought he definitely got better as the game wore on, and I think he will get better the more he gets used to playing with it in the system that Rovers have with him now. But I think he will get better. His class is there for all to see. It's just a matter of him now actually going and doing it on a weekly basis.
And we saw the attacking class of Liam Scales last week with that brilliant goal in the President's Cup. Wasn't able to get forward as much tonight, but again, he started in that left wing back position, which is something we're not accustomed to seeing. Do you think he's doing enough early on in these couple of games to nail down that place in the team?
Yeah, well, I think if Sean Cavanagh's fully fit, probably Sean starts. But Liam has played there for Ireland under 21s. He's looked very good for Ireland under 21s in that position. I saw him play here last year against Iceland, and he was excellent. Yeah, like Liam's a very good player. I think a very underrated player. Like in the President's Cup final last week, it was commented that on the Watch LOI that he was a surprise that he started the cup final. And we watched Rovers all last season, and he was one of our best defenders last year. So he is a very good player. Very comfortable on the ball. He didn't get down as much tonight, but I think that was mainly due in part to how well Pat sort of marshalled him. I think Pat did very well there. But Liam's a quality player, and he's proved it in the league, and he will go on to prove it in the league.
Again, for regular listeners of our weekly podcast, you would have heard the discussion on this week's show about Rory Gaffney. Can he be the man to get 15 or 20 goals this season? Again, I thought there was positive signs out of him in the first half, although he didn't have any real opportunities. He was making good runs. He was linking up nicely with the midfielders, but he was eventually replaced by Aaron Green, and Green goes and gets the goal. So it'll be interesting to see who starts in Rovers' next league game.
Yeah, wait to Derry next week. Yeah, I thought the two Pat centre halves were very good at start. We all know Lee Desmond is quality, and Barrow, I think, won everything that was at him. So Rory didn't get much change out of him, and that's probably why he went off. Maybe he wanted a bit more. Aaron's a bit more strength up there. But Rory's like a new signing, and it will take him time to get to come in and get used to how we play. But I think Rory will be a great addition to us. He did show last year, and before he got injured, that he was going to be a very good addition. But tonight, in fairness, the two centre backs didn't get our Pats were very good and didn't give him that much change really. He didn't get
just a note on that Derry game next week. There's a potential that it could be postponed, obviously, because Nathan Garrett's side, the Derry goalkeeper, has been called up to the Northern Irish senior squad, and Shamrock Rovers are going to be without Pico Lopez as well. But as we know now, through Dundalk having so many international players, it's only players that are called up to the Irish senior squad or the Northern Irish squad that can have games postponed in the league. So that game does meet the criteria with Garrett's side being called up. So we have to wait and see whether that game will go ahead. Moving on, Chris McCann, again, really positive signs from him in both the President's Cup and at times tonight. He seems to be a player that always looks forward for a pass.
Yeah, he picked out some beautiful passes today. One in the first half where he set Borky free, and there was one in the second half where I think he might have set Sean Kavanagh free. Yeah, he's as you said, Kieran, he's always looking to play that pass. He's always looking to find a forward pass. He doesn't. A lot of midfielders these days, they seem to want to tour and go back to their defence. But in fairness to Chris, he was always looking for that ball tonight. I think one thing I like about him, lads, is that one thing I've always sort of criticised over the last couple of years, that we never complain about referees' decisions, the dark arts of the game. I thought Dundalk have mastered that over the last few years and they're successful. In fairness to Chris tonight, any time the decision against him, he's up with the referee, question the referee, and you want to see that every now and again from your players. But I think with his experience of playing in England, I think it'll be a valuable addition to Rovers as the season wears on.
Fitzy mentioned it at the start of the show. The referee, he didn't exactly let the game flow, particularly in that first half at times. Yeah, was that you? We could hear swearing on RT. There was someone right behind the commentary box.
No, it wasn't me. I was a good bit to the left of it. Look, I think what all you want from referees is consistency, lads. And like he booked Sean Cannon for a tackle early on. It probably was a yellow card, but then a couple of minutes later, I think it was Mountney goes into the back of Mandrew, pretty much the same tackle, and he doesn't book him. It's that's the frustrating thing. It's just consistency you want. I thought at one stage he'd know in the first half. I was worried that he'd no control over the game, and that something bad was going to happen. Thankfully, he got a bit more control in the second half, but he was a bit whistle happy. There was, Kane, you might remember, there was one incident in the first half where I think I think he was a free, even he out there in the middle of the park. He gave a free against Graham Burke, but the problem was when Pat's defender won the ball, Chris Foss about to turn, and it's something like 5-on-4 for Pats. They're in a great position, and he caused it. And Stephen O'Donnell was going nuts.
Another one as well,
like, absolutely crazy.
Lee Desmond's tackle, like just before half time there.
Brilliant tackle.
What a tackle! Best tackle in the game. The ball. And he books him.
Yeah. And I think a minute before that, kid, there was a pass player had gone in on either Joey or Pico, and it's a yellow card all day long. He doesn't even speak to them, and yet, as you say, Desmond wins the ball, and he gives it a yellow there. I just thought tonight there was that in the game. I think he didn't allow the game to flow as it should have. But in fairness, like you get that in games, and you get that in derby. Sometimes they want to take control and they can be over fuzzy. But a good referee, you don't recognise it. A good referee is the one you don't recognise in the game. And tonight you would have recognised Rob Hennessy, sadly, because it was very stop-start. A lot of frees given, a lot of bookings. I think it was 5 or 6 bookings in the end, if I'm correct. But look, that's just the way it is. We've always complained about referees in this league since I started going nearly 40 years ago. It's still better.
It's still better than having VAR every day of the week. Better.
I'm so glad we can't afford VAR in this league. I think it'd be carnage if we got VAR in this league. Thank God.
Look, it's been brilliant having you calling in from the stadium. Before we let you go, no one reads too much into pre-season results or President's Cup results, but slightly slower start than maybe expected from Shamrock Rovers. You can see maybe they're just lacking that little bit of fluidity in their play with the 2 big midfielders gone. I think everyone knows they're going to be very, very difficult to replace McAneff and Jack Byrne. And I think people really underestimate the influence McAneff in particular had. We all know what a good player Jack Byrne was, but McAneff was one of the best midfielders in this league. So are you just slightly concerned it might take a little longer than people think for Rovers just to hit where they were last season?
Yeah, and I think that's how when you lose, like we always knew Jack was going. I think Aaron McAneff one came as a bit of a shock. I think it even came as a shock to the lad himself if you read his interviews during the week. But if you remember 2 years ago, lads, when Rovers had that lead and then the dog clawed it back, Rovers went on a wobble in the middle of the season, and it was no coincidence at the time that it was the time that Aaron McAneff was out injured. And it was to me, there was no coincidence. I couldn't believe you'd hit all these midfielders getting mentioned over the last couple of years, and Aaron wouldn't be mentioned at all. But yeah, it will take time. But the players are there, the quality is there. They did show it in patches tonight. They did show it in patches last week. And it will get there. I'm pretty confident. So I'm not super tough. What I am happy with tonight is the character we showed. 1 down, 3 minutes to go, and we came back and got an equaliser and got a draw. That's a good sign of champions. Just once that, it's the 3rd year in a row where Aaron Green has got the first goal for the Rovers of the season. And Keane, another one for you. Pat's hadn't scored tonight. So it was, and there hadn't been a goal in nearly 400 minutes of this game until tonight. So, and there was 2 in a minute, like Dublin buses. But it was a great, it's great that, look, I'm very lucky, lads, and I'll tell you now, I'll tell everyone that I can come to games. Now, my own father can't come, some of my best friends can't come. So I was glad to be here. I think it wasn't a great spectacle football, but it was a real Dublin derby, 100%. Blood and thunder, and I think it was a fair result in the end.
Just good to get out of the house, really. The drive to the ground is nearly a bigger bonus than the match at this stage.
Yeah, it is. I think it's good to have it back. Good to be back.
It's fantastic to have it back. Justin, thanks very much for joining us. We'll let you go off and get post-match interviews and all the rest. But that was Justin Mason from the Absolute Game joining us on the BTS Boot Room. Thanks, Justin. Fitzy, would you agree with most of what our Rovers fans had to say there about their performances tonight? Not fantastic, but they'll take it it's better than a defeat to open up your league season.
I suppose from a neutral point of view, or can you ever really be neutral when Rovers are playing?
No.
Look, I think Rovers, they were all right. Like, it'll take them a while to gel, as you said there, and Justin was saying as well. Like, you could see at times there, but like Pats didn't really put it up to Rovers either. Like, I think Pats will come like Pats will benefit more of the gelling, like the 5 across midfield there that Pats have. Like you know how much I was raving on about Smith last year, like
Yes, yeah. He was
Forrester
very
there
good.
now and Benson, like Benson kind of looked a bit groggy towards the end, as I said, but like if you can get that 5-man midfield ticking, like that'll be like, because tonight I found anytime the Pats really got the ball in midfield, they were back to goal and they were going back to the centre half, and like there was good ball retention, but they never really put the Rovers back four under pressure. The only time that really the Rovers back four was under pressure was when Pats got the goal. That was kind of the first time that they got in behind the fullbacks. And then maybe I'd say just before Rovers got the equaliser, then there was kind of a half chance there where it looked like Pats could have been on the break again. I think it was Forrester again or whatever, and it was just the bounce of the ball and Rovers recovered, like, But look, I'd take a point first day of the season,
Yeah, away to the champions, you certainly would. And for more on St. Pat's now and the performance, we're joined by Cian Menton, a big Super Saint. Cian, how are you this evening?
Yeah, we're all good. But like, it's funny. It really is. It's funny how it goes. Like, usually, if this was a draw 0-0 or something, you'd be happy. But considering we were 1-0 up, you had that 3 points, you had it in your hand, and then it's taken away from you. It kind of feels more like a better point for Rovers than Pats, believe it or not, considering the way the game ended.
Yeah, we've got a Saints fan here just commenting in that St. Pat still look a little bit weak going forward, but hopefully we'll evolve. Would you? Fitzy's made that point as well. Would you agree with that, Cian? I did think at times looking at the game that although Coughlin was linking up nicely with the midfield, if he's to pick up an injury or anything like that, I mean, where are we looking for the goals in that St. Pat's team? Even if you look towards the bench there's no real standout backup striker as such.
Yeah, look, Coughlin's not going to get you 15 goals. He's not that type of player. He's going to be bringing in the likes of Mikey Smith, bringing in the likes of Billy King, and even playing off Benson and stuff like that. He's not going to get you 15 goals. He's not that type of player. He's not your Christy Fagans, or he's not going to be that player for Pat. So I think we shouldn't be looking for him to score an awful lot of goals, but we should be creating a lot of chances with him in the side. And I think that's his best asset. Like, look, I didn't expect going up to Tala to, take control of the ball and put them under pressure and just play and have more possession and stuff like that. To be honest, I think in the first half, like, it was very tight, but like I would say it would kind of swing to Pats in terms of the possession, and I know we didn't break them down, but Rovers didn't really break Pats down till the second half either. So it was kind of a half goal for it from both sides, I think, in the first half, and the second half it kind of opened up, and I was, Pats ended up a couple of last ditch tackles, a ball off the line, so it gets a bit like that, and like you said, you're going to the home of the champions, you'd probably expect that. You expect that for 90 minutes, so I think we contained them fairly well, and in the last year, the 2 games we played as well, I think we contained them fairly well as well. So, I think Pats play well against the big clubs. Like, we've seen them play against Dundalk, we've seen them play against Bows. We haven't done too great against Bows, but Dundalk and Rovers in recent seasons, like, the performances have been really good. And, it's the games against your Droghed's, it's the game against your Finn Harps that let Pats down every season.
He's well trained. He didn't say Longford there, so that's good. we like that. We like that. But Fitz, just to go back to what we've been discussing there, is there a lack of real, an out goal scorer in that team?
I think
take away Coughlin. I mean, looking at the bench there, McKellen came on, but again, he's not really one of these potent goal scorers. He's more of a player that likes to link up and sometimes play out on the left. I'm just looking at the squad there, and you're going to be looking for the likes of Matty Smith and Billy King and Forrester.
Yeah, you're going to be looking for the midfield to chip in with goals, as Cian had there. Like, I think, like, look, he's on about saying that they had a lot of possession and stuff, but I think Pats need to, like, looking from the game there tonight, I think if Pats can, as I said, if they can get that midfield kind of firing and lads chipping in with goals, I think they have a good solid base there to probably, like, maybe a good 4th finish in the league, like, because I think that's where Pats are kind of aiming for, where honestly where they could get, like, I don't think they're going to have enough to challenge like a Dundalk or a Rovers, and then there's probably Bows or there might be a bit of a drop in points there between Bows and the top two. But like they had a lot of possession tonight, but they just weren't doing enough for me on the ball, like, you know. But I think, look, it's first game of the season. They were comfortable enough passing it around there. They just need to get, as I said, just get that gel in midfield and bring the striker in a bit more and create a few more chances, you know. And if they do that, then like they could definitely a high table finish. Like, but look, as we've all been saying all week, you know, we talk Pats up every year and we always give them this, and then they just pull the rug from under you, you know.
Yeah, just on that, Keane, and Fitzy's point that maybe Pats they might be okay for top four, but probably not beyond that. As a fan, what's your expectation this season with St. Pat's?
Look, as boring as it sounds, I'm happy with 4th, 5th, and I run the cup. You know, I think Pats, we should be looking for 4th. A club like St. Pat's, but we have to be realistic. You look at the signings that Bows have made. You look at the signings even Sligo have made. So, you know, it's going to be very hard. And considering if someone out of the top 4 doesn't win the cup, you know, it's the 3rd spot. So you need to finish 3rd to finish in Europe. So it is hard. I think Pat's best chance of Europe is probably going to be through the cups, through the FAI Cup, and seeing how far we can actually go on that. You know, if you get lucky, like last year, we got very unlucky. I think there was only 2 ties last year, and we ended up getting Finn Harps away. But, you know, I think Pat's best option is the cup for Europe. But look, well, definitely we'll be there or thereabouts in around 4th, 5th position.
Yeah, let's go through the Pats team tonight, and I want you to give us a rating out of 10 for each player, and just a brief synopsis of their performance. We'll start with the goalkeeper, Jarost, and if anyone isn't familiar with his story and his background, he's from the Czech Republic and he's on loan from the mighty Liverpool, so he'll be eager to prove himself at a senior level. And he looked quite decent, didn't he? Aside from one really good save he made from Graham Burke, where it was deflected, where he showed really good footwork to get across the line and tip it around the post. I thought he was good with the ball at his feet as well.
Yeah, look, Jared, he's coming over. He's going to be playing every week. He's the main man for us. He's our main keeper. So I'm delighted he had a good game. It's a bit harsh that he didn't keep his clean sheet, but look, I think he will be good, and he definitely has pedigree, but it's very hard. Like, we've seen players coming back, like the likes of Glenn McCauley and Alex O'Hanlon and stuff in recent seasons. And Alex O'Hanlon's at Wexford now, and Glenn is probably not even going to get his game at Shells. So, you know, it's very hard to tell how these players come back from playing in under 23s and youths. But look, you can't ask for a better start if I was him. I think he was fairly solid. Probably
he could have had a better start with a clean sheet, I suppose. But overall, not bad to go to the champions and pick up a point and make a couple of decent saves.
You wouldn't be worried about the goalkeeper, you know, like you'd be confident enough after seeing that, like, you know, as I can agree with Keane there, you know. Yeah,
no, I agree totally. It's strange because we had this situation with the Dundalk goalkeeper coming in, a total unknown, and everyone was really concerned, and, you know, a lot of talk about it. Whereas Jarosz really is a bit of an unknown, but I suppose the clubs he's come from are a lot more established. He's played for I think it's Slavia Prague he was with, wasn't it, in the Czech Republic?
Yeah.
And then obviously with Liverpool, and where he's just behind Queevy and Kelleher in the pecking order. So the fact that people are more familiar with those clubs, they probably weren't as worried to see him coming in, and they'll be less worried now by his performance tonight. An interesting one for you, Keane. John Mountney playing right back. I actually thought that position really suited him.
Yeah, John is the best in his league at his defensive game in that position. He is, like, his recovery runs, like, if you watch back all the years he was playing for Dundalk, he's the toughest defensive winger you can play against. Like, honestly, in Bermo's prime, I think Bermo struggled against him all the time. And look, I think Mountney is very underrated. I think he always was. So this is his season now to shine in this Pats team. I think we will be seeing him going forward an awful lot more than staying back. I think, look, tonight was a sitting tight type of game. So I'd expect them to, like, next week against Drogheda, to be playing the other side of the halfway line and, you know, getting crosses into the box. But look, steady enough start for him. Like, he didn't really get caught out of position, and he won his key battles.
Were you disappointed to see Rory Feely move across the Bows?
Yeah, disappointed. I like Rory. Think he's an exceptional player. He can play in a number of positions as well. Which, look, Pat's squad isn't as big as we'd like it to be, probably. So having Rory Feely, who can actually play on the wing, he can play wing back, he can play full back, centre half. So having that versatile player is great as well. Like we kind of have that in Sam Bowen, but I think Rory moved on. He was teaching and stuff, so part-time football kind of suited him. It's a shame because, I thought towards the back end of last year, he was really showing into himself again.
So give us a rating for the two lads there, Jaros in goals and Mountney at fullback.
I'll give Jaros a 7, and that's because the 3 points deducted there with the clean sheet. I think Mountney, I'd say 6, but not a bad 6, if you know what I mean.
6.5.
Yeah, 6.5.
Lee Desmond got man of the match on RT. Would you be in agreement with that? No, you're shaking your head.
I thought Paddy Barrett was better, in fairness. But
really?
I know Paddy had a bit of a. I know he had a bit of a stumble there. But look, Lee is.
Fitz, I'm going to let you in a second there.
I'm waiting for this now. Put my hand out to his lap here. Like, Lee has been one of the best centre halves in the league, and he's really grown into that position. Like we say it every year with him, he's exciting to watch, he's exciting to play, and his reading of the game is exceptional. But I think I'd probably give him 8. I'm probably gonna have to give him 8 now.
Fitzy, obviously we're in the same WhatsApp groups, and we were texting back and forth during the game, and we thought the potential weak link during the game was Paddy Barrett. He looked a little bit shaky, didn't he?
And then he had to be taken off with cramp. Obviously, man of the match here, just through the Pat's tinted glasses.
I think Paddy done well. I think if Paddy
aside from the one where he swung and hit with a standing leg inside his own area, that was an absolute disaster.
Look, he wasn't really bad. He was, but I don't think he was better than what Desmond was tonight. I thought that I was very impressed with Desmond, to be honest with you. I thought he was
I thought Barrett's passing was poor at times as well. There was a lot of overhit passes.
If Paddy was there, I don't think Rovers would have scored that goal over Sam Bowen there.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
But at the same time, look, if my aunt had ball, she'd be my uncle, I suppose. That's not good.
I think the goal was more. I think it was more so that Bowen was just on, though. I don't think it was the fact of who was marking. I think he was just probably, the way it takes you a couple of minutes to get into the game. And I think he just switched off after the goal went in for a second. But probably should have. You could probably put a bit of blame onto Benson there as well, even though his legs were gone. That cross shouldn't really be coming in, or there should be more pressure on that cross.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But he ran himself into the ground.
Yeah.
Benson ran himself into the ground, to be fair.
Yeah.
Moving out to the left fullback, that was Griffin. Give us a rating for him.
Griffin, I would say 6. Didn't really affect the game going forward, but anybody that watches Griff, you'll say he's very, very rarely beaten in 1-to-1, and he's very strong in his positioning and his reading of the game. I think he didn't do much. He's our outlet for goal kicks, there's no doubt about it. He's the only one that we can really hit that can actually probably win the ball. But I think Griffin definitely showing this season. I think he's definitely going to play more than Bermo. Like I said, he got beaten once, just in the second half. I think he was just beaten once in the whole game, and against Rovers, it's not too bad, I suppose.
Fitzy, I'll actually go to you for a rating on this man, because you mentioned it earlier. You had a bit of a graw for him on the podcast last year. Matty Smith, not a bad debut.
Decent enough, yeah. I saw that. I think, look, he showed glimpses at times. I'd probably edge him towards a 6 or a 7. It was decent. I think across the midfield, you probably couldn't really give anyone higher than a 6 or a 7. I think they were all right, but just as I said, a lot of the time they were getting the ball, their back was to the Rovers' goals, and it was very kind of you know, you were like, oh, can they up it a gear here and really take it to Rovers? You know, like they were passing it back and it was going across the other side of the pitch, and you know the back four was passing it across, but it was all very kind of just, you know, there was no intensity to it there, really, you know, compared to Rovers when they had it in the final third. You felt the ball was kind of being a bit more zipped around, and you know, but Pat's dealt with it very well. Look, don't want to rant on too much, but look, I give him a solid 7 there. Like, it was a good debut.
Cian, Chris Forrester, obviously he's had it a little bit difficult since he came back, and we'd all love to see him return to the levels he was previously at before he went across the water. But there was little glimpses here and there last season, and I thought again tonight there was glimpses that maybe he's going in the right direction once again.
Yeah, look, his talent, he'd walk into any team on his day. I think we've seen him play and we've seen what he can do. The last 2 seasons have been really disappointing. Towards the back end of last year, like I said, he showed glimpses, but it's you know, it's fits and starts with this. So, you know, every time, you know what he reminds me of? Honestly, he reminds me of when Jack Wilshere got back into the Arsenal team at the time, and he had 1 or 2 good games, and everyone was raving about him again. So I wouldn't go too much. I wouldn't be too excited at the minute. You know, give it time. I think, look, he can get any fan off the seat. He can just pull out wonders. And I thought tonight, like I said, he was on it, and I'd like to see him play further up the pitch. I'd like to see him play closer to Coughlin. I think he can definitely damage teams like him in, let's say, Graham Burke's position, for example, in Shamrock Rovers. I think if he was to play that high, he'll definitely cause damage and he'll definitely get in around the box. So I'd give Git 6 tonight, but it could definitely be a 7. Look, I thought he was, you know, I don't think anyone was below 6. So.
Yeah, I think that's probably the common theme here: 6s and 7s across the board, which
Yeah.
you know says a lot about Pat's performance. It was perfectly fine, especially away from home. Robbie Benson, as Fitzy said, ran himself into the ground. He put in the crucial cross for the opening goal. Overall, probably pushing him towards a 7 as well. Are we?
Yeah, put him at 7. I think Benson, you get the same out of him every week. He's 7 out of 10. He can be 9.5, 10 out of 10 some weeks, but you're not going to get below a 7 or an 8 from him every week. And I think Benson, like, what a player. And I think we're blessed to have him. I'd love him to be the player he was when he was at Dundalk and be on the ball as much and play more attacking, because, like, the midfield, we have the midfield to go toe-to-toe with the best. And, you know, I'd love them to play higher up that field. I'd love Benson to pick the ball up and just drive, and Forrester the same. But, you know, I think we'll see a lot more of that from Pats against the clubs that you mentioned, like your Droghed's or your Longfords or whatever, like, you know, like teams. But I think, like, when they're playing the likes of Rovers and the Dock, it's probably hard for them to do that sort of to play, because, like, you know, you give away a chance there, you're going to get punished, like, you know, that sort of way. But, like, it'll be great. I'm looking forward to seeing Benson really link up with Forrester this year. Like, that'll be an interesting one to watch. Like, you know, 2, as you said, 2 on their day, probably best midfielders. Like, I don't want to say best midfielders in the league, but, like, you know, 2 lads that when they're on their day, like, they're remarkable. Like,
they were both there. They were both there together last season, though, Fitzy. You have to remember.
Yeah, but I think
what's so special about this season?
Yeah, well, I think Forrester looks a lot fitter this year. I think even the commentary said that about him as well. You know, as Cian said there, he kind of fell away towards the end of last season, whatever was going on with the COVID and everything. You know, I think like it's a clean slate this year now, and they've brought in a bit more into the team. You know, so, like, if them 2 lads could maybe try and get firing this year, you know, it'll be very interesting to watch.
Yeah. Jamie Lennon, Cian, tell us a bit about his performance tonight.
Jamie, I could be a tad bit harsh on Jamie and say he was. We
didn't bring you on to sit on the fence, so come on.
I'll kind of have to sit on the fence a little bit here. No, look, Jamie does his defensive side of the game really well. I think he was a 6, but he's probably the worst 6 on the side tonight. That's me saying that in the nicest possible way, right?
5.9.
Like, honestly, I thought he was he didn't affect the game as much as he'd like. And I think the referee didn't help, because Lenny is a dirty player. Like, Lenny is a get your shorts dirty type of player, and I think he had to be careful, because the ref was like he said, he was dishing out cards, and you know, if Lenny gets one early on, he's the breakup player. He's the man now that can really give Forrester and Benson that license to just go. And you know, we've seen it with the best midfielders in the league. Like, you always have, like, you think of Dundalk, you think of like Stephen O'Donnell holding, and you know, Richie Towell and stuff like that going, and Chris Shields now is doing that job, and you have McElhenney and stuff. So I think Lenny will play there, and he'll give them the license to go and play. I think that's his job. He's not. Look, he's a great passer of the ball. His range of passing, if any of you watched him last season or the year before, like, his range of passing is unbelievable. But that's not his job in this Pats team.
Yeah, we have a Pats fan in the comments there agreeing with you that he was patchy tonight. But I didn't actually see the full team news before the game. So were Pats down many bodies at all in terms of even the squad?
No, Alfie Lewis wasn't in the squad. He's the only one really, but I think we had a full side to pick from, and look, long may that continue.
Because I'm just looking at your bench here, and with all due respect, it doesn't seem to be. You've got a really strong starting 11, in my opinion, but there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of depth on the bench. You've got a good backup goalie there, and Barry Murphy coming back to the club. Ian Birming, obviously very experienced. We've seen Sam Bone come on. As I said, I like McClelland as well, but he's probably not someone that's going to bang in, you know, more than 5 or 6 goals a season. After that, it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag. A lot of young players, or maybe players that we're not that familiar with in the League of Ireland. So I suppose for Pats, keeping everyone fit and suspension free is going to be very important this year.
That's it. Look, you have to keep the players fit. I think it goes for everyone. If you look, Shamrock Rovers have a better side than us, no, hands down, no question. But their side is just as small as Pats. And, you know, it's a couple of injuries there. I know they have a bit more quality on the bench to be bringing off and stuff like that. But, like, across the league, I think Dundalk are probably the only team that probably have the bench and have the squad over the course of a season. And, you know, I think we're all in the same boat. And you look at the likes of, like, I know Pats are light, but you're looking at Sligo, without, you know, they have a great starting 11, and they're probably light. Bows, could they be a bit light? You know, I think every team has the same problems, but yeah, I'd be wary of the light squad, and I think it's definitely lighter than other years. So, you know,
as a wise man once said, keep the good lads on the bench, and then next season, bam.
Oh, that's your man, yeah. No, yeah. You know, the side we have, the starting 11 is up there. There's no question. It's the squad over 36 games is the key. And, you know, we keep as many of them fit as possible, we'll do okay. You know, I think last year we definitely strengthened in the likes of, you know, getting rid of, let's say, James Down, or getting rid of, you know, players like that. And we're bringing in Matty Smith, for example. So we're definitely upgrading, but I'd like to upgrade a little bit more on the bench maybe. But, you know, Ben McCormick, Dara Bones, 2 young lads that come through the academy, like, these lads, I'm surprised. I think our squad is that small, but they would play first division football, I think, if our squad was that little bit bigger. And I think they definitely, like, Ben McCormick, on his day, what a player. Like, he can definitely mix it with the best, and he can definitely be as good as, let's say, a Brandon Kavanagh and Dara Bones and stuff like that. They could be really that good. So, you know, we definitely have a lot of potential. But I've often said it, in this league, it's all about right here, right now. And, you know, you can't afford to wait 2 or 3 seasons, because the opportunity passes you by. I think you need to have a squad that's ready to compete with the best every season. I know it doesn't happen, but in an ideal world, that's what I think the league is about.
And a quick shout out as well to young Ben McCormick. He was the last player. He bailed us out. You might know, lads, I'm involved with Heading the Game, and you might have seen the video we launched today. And we had everything ready to launch last night. We thought we had every club covered, and then we realised, Jesus, we've missed St. Pat's. So fair play to Jamie Moore there at St. Pat's. He got the ball rolling, and he was able to get us Ben this morning, and he threw the video together quickly. So we were delighted to get that launched. So fair play to Jamie and Ben there over at St. Pat's. Give them credit where it's due. Cian, one player that hit the ground running when he came into the league last year, and I was a big fan of him in the first couple of games, but then I think it's fair to say his performances, they probably leveled off a bit. Billy King.
Billy, like, he has the potential to be the best winger in the league. I think he is key to everything Pats do. I think, we try and feed him the ball, try and get him in the advanced areas of the pitch because he will hurt teams. He's a very injury-prone player, similar to Robbie Benson, let's say. They can be that good, but if they get a run of games, they're brilliant. And we've seen Billy going off at half time. He wasn't playing last week in the friendly, so he had a bit of a niggle. So I would have preferred him, let's say, in the last 45 minutes than the first 45. But I'm not a huge fan of McClelland, so that's why I'm saying I much prefer Billy King in the second half of the game, and he might give you that little bit more when early on the season, especially defenders are probably not as fit and as alert and the reactions as they should be in let's say in the middle of a season in 12 games time when we play them again. But Billy, similar to nearly every player at Pats last year, it was stop and start, and we won 2 games, lost 2 games in the first 4, and then we had lockdown. We went through a tough patch, a really tough patch where in this league, you lose 2 games and you find yourself, you can't win a game, you can't buy a win. You win 2 games and all of a sudden you can't see yourself losing. There's fine margins in the league. So I think we started to get a bit of form. I think we drew a couple of games, then we went down and beat Cork and we beat Shells and stuff like that. Then we were in a 2-week lockdown with the players and we never really got back going after that. But I'd love to see Billy now in a full season, see how he gets on, because he has the potential, and look, he can definitely pop up with a goal, and that's where Coughlin comes into it. That's where Matty Smith comes into it, and we can get these players. Like I said, Coughlin isn't going to be playing off the last man running through. Coughlin is going to be getting there, holding that ball up and trying to get Billy King and Matty Smith on the wings into the advanced positions and try and get into the back lines. But look, it's going to be very hard to do that. It's tough in this league. A lot of teams that we're going to play are probably going to sit at the edge of the box. So, we need to adapt a little bit. But let's see what happens.
Final question before we let you go on Pats. I suppose a lot of League of Ireland fans last season and tonight, again, he was on the bench. Very surprised not to see Ian Birmingham involved a little bit more, given the experience he has, the medals he has. We know Griffin, obviously, is a good young player, and O'Donnell wants to play good attacking football, and I suppose Griffin, he fits that profile, a fullback that can bomb on up the wings. But Birmingham, a lot of experience just to have sitting around, isn't it?
Yeah, and look, captain, what he's done for this club will forever be thankful. I don't know where he gets the energy levels from. Like, even in training, he definitely runs the most. I don't know how he's still doing it. Like, he's gone around like since 2008 to 2009, I think, with UCD, and then he got his break with Rovers, and now he's with Pats. But like, he's a stalwart in the club, and he's one of them players that's always going to be there. His performances haven't been great, I would say, since 2017-18. His performance levels have dropped, and he wouldn't have the effect he used to have, and he's not able to go up and down that line. I think big games like tonight, I think like last year he played in the back 3, he played as a left centre half in the back 3 against Rovers, and he done really well, but he doesn't have the legs anymore for that left wing back position. And with what Pats are doing at the minute, can we really get exposed in them areas? No, I don't think so. But yeah, it's hard to say. Look, it's very hard to say a bad word about Birmo, but I think Griffin is going to be our man number 3.
Cian, some really good opinions from yourself. Great to hear from you tonight, and I'm glad you enjoyed the game, and thanks for coming on to speak with us.
No bother, lads. Thanks very much.
Good luck, Cian.
Mind yourself, bud. Bye-bye.
So it's just myself and Fitzy now for the last couple of minutes of the show. Don't be afraid to leave your comments and any questions you might have. We're just going to have a quick chat about the games tomorrow. As ever, if you want a full preview, if you want a full preview to the 3 games taking place tomorrow, then check out Between the Stripes LOI podcast on Spotify, Apple, or any of the podcast providers, or you can find it on our website. We'll start with Longford Fitzy. It's Derry coming down to Bishopsgate, Longford's first game in the Premier for 5 years. And as we were saying on the podcast this week, they could have been handed a worse opening fixture. It's going to be difficult, but it's not unthinkable they could walk away with at least a point here at the Town.
Look, well, probably all week I was kind of like just buzzing for it, like, and you're kind of like, oh yeah, we 3 points, we might be able to get 3 points here. You wouldn't know what Derry are like, but I'd say the closer it comes to kick-off time, I think I'll be getting more nervous and more nervous, But look, just delighted for the game. I'm coming off nights there and I'm absolutely shattered, but I don't think I'll be able to sleep a wink. I'm just so excited for it,
Yeah,
it's just great.
We won't go too in depth on any of these games tomorrow, because as I said, if folks want a good preview, they can head over and listen to the pod. But we said it on the show. It's going to be, if Longford are going to get something from this game, they're going to have to keep Parkhouse very, very quiet. Definitely,
yeah. Look, I think, you've seen it tonight there. I think it's going to be individual mistakes is really what's going to cost you in this league. In any league, really, but you're going to be punished when you're playing the bigger clubs in this league with individual mistakes. And you can see Pats take the lead there, and within a minute then Rovers get the equaliser, but Derry to win 2-0.
Block banned from stream.
Kick him out quick. No, but look, you kind of have a bit of a graw for Derry down throughout the years, but that's definitely going to go out the window tomorrow. Look, I'm really just looking forward to the match. We're back in the Premier. I suppose as Gary and Briar, I was listening to the podcast there today, and I know I don't want to give too much away. You'll be giving out to me here. You'll probably be censoring this, but as Briar was saying, the bookies have us at the bottom. All the pundits have us at the bottom. So we're going in with no fear. Longford need to just go in under the radar and just play their own game. And I think tomorrow, as you said, we could have had a worse draw. We could have been in Tala tonight, or you could have been off against Drogheda, who are say Waterford, or the teams that are Finn Harps, the teams that you think are going to be around Longford. So they've nothing to lose. We could go out tomorrow and we could get a win, and it's a fantastic way to start the season. Or you could go out tomorrow, Longford might show a few glimpses of what they can do, and they could get beaten 2 or 3-0, and you're not really going to hit the panic button.
Yeah, some predictions here from Rory Lally. Feel free to send in your predictions, everyone. So he's gone for a 1-0 win for Bows, which I think I'm right in saying John Briar. I think that might have been his prediction this week on the show. Longford 2, Derry 1, and we like that. And Sligo 2, Dundalk 2. We'll move on to that Sligo and Dundalk game. This is far from an easy start for Dundalk, is it, having to go to Sligo on a Saturday night?
Yeah, I know everyone keeps saying the same thing the whole time about, wouldn't it be great if the fans were in? But that really is one that would have been great for the first game of the season, Sligo and Dundalk. And Longford and Derry would have been just as good if it was a nice day out in the Strokestown Road there. I think Derry would have brought a good few. But yeah, look, I think a few people were saying it there online as well. It's a pity the 3 games are kicking off at the same time.
Yeah,
because I'm off tomorrow. I probably would have watched all 3 of them.
Yeah, no,
I could have,
I said it on the show. I don't know why they've done that on a Saturday night. Yeah, they could have even had, if they wanted to have 2 at the same time, you could go back and watch one and then have one on the Sunday or a Monday night.
It is great that you can watch it back after, but it's not the same. I don't know about you. Even there tonight, watching the game, and then when the ball goes out of play, if it's a bit dull, maybe hop onto the Twitter just to see what people are saying. The bit of crack, because you don't really have the crack that you'd have out at the ground. It's even jumping onto this after and just seeing what people's perspective and who thought who played well, and and looking at it from obviously tomorrow I'd be looking at it through my Longford glasses, thinking if we win, we're going on Europe, this sort of crack, more than the lads tonight there. But look, I think that Sligo Dundalk game will be a quality game, and I think probably the pressure could be a bit off Dundalk now after Pat's getting the draw tonight. You wouldn't be too worried if Dundalk didn't go on and win and if they just got a point.
And the other game tomorrow is Bows going up to Ballybuffet again. It's probably, as Briar said, or Gary said, it's the last place you'd want to go for the opening game of the season. But it could be a tough night's work for Bows.
If we heard the whistle tonight in the Rovers game, we didn't hear half as much as we'd probably hear in that match. Look, you know what you're going to get with Harps up in Ballybuffet. It's going to be an absolute battle, like, and Bows have their work cut out for them if they want to get the 3 points opening day. I would have liked to have watched that one as well, because like a good few people are saying Harps maybe, like, they're always kind of tipped to be in around the playoff spot or whatever, but like you're saying, for the last couple of years, can they kick on? And like, I'm not saying that they're going to be high up the table, but like, will there be a 6-7 point gap between Harps and the playoff spot, if you know what I mean? Like, so not that they're going to leapfrog up to 4th or 5th, like, but just will they have enough just to kind of break away from being dragged into a scrap for the playoff position?
Yeah, I actually seen a Harps fan today saying he thinks they'll be comfortable mid-table, and he said he'd never been as optimistic going into a season. And the general consensus among the Harps fans seem to be that they're all very confident this year. I'm sure Ollie Horgan is saying, stop that. But look, I'm loving some of these predictions coming in. We've got another one here from a Pats fan. He's going 2-2 Longford and Derry, and that actually probably isn't a bad shout at all. And we've got just another comment here from Rory Lally, a big shout from him. He says he wouldn't be surprised if Longford win tomorrow, and he has a feeling that Derry could be in a relegation battle. Look, at the end of the day, they were in one last season, only for results, or they picked up a result on the final day of the season against Cork, and that secured them not having to play a playoff. But Derry need to have a good start to the season. It's probably right to say there's more pressure on Derry tomorrow than there is on Longford.
Oh, definitely. Look, Longford have no pressure on them at all this year. Like, realistically, if Longford went out for the season and done kind of an at-loan on it a couple of years ago and went 10, 11 games without getting a point, you'd kind of just be saying, like, it'd be going with everyone's general opinion of, Longford are going straight back down anyway. Yeah. Like, so like it's not like, I don't think there's no pressure on any of these Longford players. Like, more so, like, they kind of, like, they just need to go out and play. I know people are saying, with no fear, like, just go out, play their game, and see how we get on, like, pick up a few points along the way. But like there's no thing to be panicking. Whereas, like, if Derry go 4 or 5 games and it's not really clicking for them, I think Declan Devine, as much as I like him, he could be a man under pressure.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would probably agree with what you have to say. But look, that's where we'll... Sorry, go ahead, Fitzy.
Waterford and Harps will go down, is what one of the Pats fans is saying there. I think just before you cut it short there, I didn't really see much of the draw of the game with Waterford, but look, I think a great result for us. I think the more times we've seen Waterford going 90 minutes without getting a point, the better for us. And I think that's Longford's big chance of not going straight down this year, is Waterford being a Cork team.
As you can see, there are quite a few comments coming in that people feel Waterford are going to be in trouble. That was the general consensus before the game, and I said it a couple of weeks on the show. I hope people listened. Drogheda opened up 8-5 in the betting, and they were absolutely hammered today. They went off. They actually went off odds on, and the late goal.
That's 2 good tips for me now in 5 years, is it?
I couldn't even get compensation for Cheltenham because I actually had Rovers doubled in with Drogheda. But look, enough about my bad betting habits. Always gamble responsibly, everyone. But look, that's where we'll leave it for tonight. There'll be a lot more reaction to all of the weekend's games on Between the Strikes LOI podcast. Should be out, I think, Tuesday night this coming week. We'll have big guests as usual. We had Dave Massey and Dean Byrne on the show this week, and we'll of course be previewing the start of the First Division on the show as well, so I'm sure you're all looking forward to that. And as I said, if you're looking for previews to the 3 games tomorrow, head over to Between the Strikes LOI podcast now, and be sure to follow us on social media as well. Before we go tonight, we'll bring you just some quick information on our new website as well. But Fitzy, thanks a million for joining me this evening.
No bother, you roped me in again. Easy done. It's good, very enjoyable. It's a cool new format for me, in fairness. It was good to get the views of Cian there and Justin, is it, from Inside the Ground? So it's a good idea, and I have to say, it's like you've kind of changed it up every year. You've added something on, you have the new website or whatever. But this is I could see this kind of kicking off, if you get fans on it every week, because people are missing out with that interaction at the games, and there's an appetite there for it. Very disappointed. It's a bit of going off on a bit of a tangent here, but disappointed to see the news of Ayr not. I don't think they're going to be doing League of Ireland. And, like, their package was miles ahead of RTE, and just like there's serious people in the league there that like yourself and other lads putting time in, and it's just great to keep in touch,
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope the viewers have as well. If anyone wants to leave us any feedback, and we will develop it as the season goes on. The plan is to do it after the live televised game every week where possible. Obviously, sometimes I might be at a game, so it might always be might be possible. But after the live televised game, we'll do a reaction show like this, because obviously we don't want to talk about every game, because we've got the podcast as well, and we don't want to take away from that, because I know people look forward to listening to that middle of the week, so we don't want to detract from it too much. But we'll try and do a reaction show after the live game each and every week. And as I said, feel free to leave us feedback. But for tonight, that's Fitzy. Thanks for joining me, Ethan. And as I said, folks, thanks for watching. Before we go tonight, here's a reminder of the new Between the Stripes website. Say hello to BetweenTheStripes.net, the new official home of all your favourite BTS content in one place. Are you a regular listener of Between the Stripes LOI podcast? Well, great news. You can now find all of our latest podcasts via our new website, and you can listen to them there as well, while as ever, you can continue to sync up with the likes of Apple, Spotify, Google, and all your favourite podcast providers. Not only can you listen to our weekly podcast, you can find our podcast extras, the likes of our League of Ireland Life Stories series, and you can listen to these directly through BetweenTheStripes.net. We're delighted to have some huge names on board providing regular columns this season on BetweenTheStripes.net, including the likes of Stephen Henderson, Conor Hoey and James Rogers. Read their thoughts now on BetweenTheStripes.net. You can also find all of our latest video content through Between the Stripes TV on BetweenTheStripes.net right now. As ever, you can link up with our socials, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And if you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do that now as well through the desktop version of BetweenTheStripes.net, the new home of Between the Stripes. On top of all of that, our new website is 100% mobile optimized, meaning you can scroll and read the latest Between the Stripes stories, listen to our latest podcast, look at our latest videos, all on the go 24/7 via BetweenTheStripes.net. So what are you waiting for? Head over to BetweenTheStripes.net now and enjoy the very best of League of Ireland coverage.